You are listening to Nerd Best Friends, a podcast that covers the nerdy conversations you're already having, or wish you could. It's the nerdiest thing you'll do this week.
This is Analese.
This is Rob.
And we are your nerd best friends.
We know you're book nerds, reading nerds, pop culture nerds, and you're going to love this episode.
Guaranteed. This is Nerd Best Friends, where we celebrate the nerdy conversations you're already having or wish you were. We're your nerd companions on a quest through cosplay, comics, D&D, pop culture, and all things wonderfully weird. If you're loving the ride, hit subscribe, follow, or share this episode with your fellow nerds, because the algorithm needs a little nudge from the nerd herd. Let's make Season 5 our nerdiest adventure yet. We are at episode 83. We read Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. That was our Nerd Book Club episode last week. But today, Rob, we're going pop culture and top 5 list combined for pop culture catchphrases.
Catchphrases is so fun because we all have our favorites that sometimes become so ingrained in our vernacular, we don't even realize where they come from. We're just saying them all the time.
Absolutely.
I love it. Well, it was a fun idea, and it was fun to start thinking about and making the list, and then there was another thing where I was like, oh, is this a catchphrase or is this just something I quote a lot? There was a lot of interesting things. It's a pretty fun one.
I had that same problem. This was not intended to be a catchphrase, which I think most of these things never intended to be a catchphrase, and then they caught on and became character catchphrases. So it's really interesting to think about and consider. But yeah, we have some fun lists, and I want to get to it. Before we get to it, let's do some nerd mail.
Nerd mail. I had some nerd mail, actually. A few weeks ago now, I had talked about reading. Gosh, I was all excited. I was like, I remember we talked about the Superman movie at the beginning of the season, and I was talking about that character, the engineer, that I had never heard of. And a listener wrote in and was like, oh, well, if you like the engineer, here's a couple books to read. And one of them was Warren Ellis's Stormwatch. And I'm like, all right, this is a big book. It's 12 comic book issues, and it's Warren Ellis. We'll see. And so I read it, and I read it, and I read it. And a few weeks ago, I even commented, I'm like, I've been reading this book, and the engineer has not showed up. And I'm on I remember you saying that. Something like that. And I finished it. Listener Ismail lied to me. That character is not in this book. But he did write it, and he did let us know. He's like, oh, sorry, but the other one I recommended, definitely in that one.
Listener Ismail, thank you for bamboozling Rob into reading something. That is amazing. Good for you.
It was an interesting book.
Not one you would have read.
Not one I would have read, which is always great. And honestly, that's one of the things I love most about the podcast is people will write in and give us recommendations. We'll take those recommendations. I'm not worse off for reading that book. I'm glad I read it. It's just kind of funny that I had this expectation and the pages were turning. Well, where the hell is this character? Is it going to be a bad guy? Is it going to be a villain that shows up? No. It was just a lie. It was just a bold-faced lie from Listener Is.
Thanks for writing back in, Ismail, and letting us know you bamboozled Rob. But the question now becomes, Rob, are you going to read the other recommendation for the engineer?
I am, because it's sitting there, and it's one of those things where, again, I'm not any worse off for reading the other one. I'll go ahead and read this one too and see if it's interesting. If it's terrible, I'll let you guys know.
There we go. Future episode of Nerd Best Friends. Hold your breath or don't hold your breath waiting for it, and go read it yourself. Yeah, nerds. Give us these recommendations. Like Rob said, we're not worse off for learning about new nerd things. Send in your deep thoughts, nerd questions, or talk nerdy to me subjects that you'd like for us to cover by sliding into our DMs or send them to podcast@nerdbestfriends.com. We'll read, even if we don't like it.
Clearly. I read a book that I didn't like just the other day. I read Mike Mignola of Hellboy fame did a series on Frankenstein, and it's not at all. I mean, I guess it's kind of imagine the Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah,
all in the
Shelley. Yeah.
Art style.
Okay.
But he's like a superhero, and he talks and goes on adventures.
No.
It was odd. And I finished it because the bad guys were cool, but like I almost gave up on it. I was like, you know what, I'm going to stop reading this book. And I looked, I was like, I only got one issue left in the collection, the trade. And I was like, all right, I'll go ahead and finish it.
You know, that's how I felt, not anywhere close to what you're talking about, but in the same vein, that's how I felt about finishing the Monsters Ed Gein story on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
The first
you
first
said
two
it was
series,
rough.
it got rougher and rougher and rougher, and we almost didn't finish it. But, you know, the first two Monsters series, one was Jeff Dahmer and the other was the Menendez brothers. They told the story. And, you know, these are based off of fictional stories or based off of true stories, and they fictionalized a little bit. In this case, with the Ed Gein story, they took such wide swings. It got weird. And especially the last episode, we were both losing interest. And at one point, my partner goes, what are we watching now? And I'm like, it is still this thing. And she's like, what is happening on the screen right now?
I have lost the plot. Well,
they took such wide swings and it was so bad. And it's disappointing because this true story about Ed Gein, whose story really did become the inspiration for a lot of more modern horror. But man, they just, no, don't do it.
I heard a review on another podcast about that same show, and they were criticizing it for, again, like being really outside what the other two seasons were.
Yes.
But they were kind of blaming it on like trying to be very like artsy and avant-garde and weird. And they were like, it really turned to a point that was not like the other two stories.
The last two episodes. And I remember when we finished episode 7, I'm like, how is there a whole nother episode that's over an hour long on this? And I said something very similar to Sarah. I said, if they're going for artsy to try to win an Emmy or something, they've missed it. They've missed the mark. It's unfortunate because the gentleman that plays Ed Gein does such a phenomenal job to the extent he's from Sons of Anarchy, and Sarah loves that show. And it took her 3 or 4 episodes to realize, I know who this is. And he did such a good job like portraying this character. She didn't even recognize him, you know, and it just, those last 2 episodes were just really wonky. And I don't know what they were going for, but it's so bad. It's so bad. And it's unfortunate because I think they announced that, what's her name? Famous woman who murdered her parents, chopped their heads off. She's very famous, and I'm going to blank on her name, but she's a well-known history story too. And if they do that same thing with this, they're just going to kill this series. No pun intended.
I don't remember why we were talking about that.
We were talking about that because you mentioned how Mike Mignola totally screwed over the Frankenstein Mary Shelley story, and I started talking about how
Ishmael screwed me over.
Screwed you over.
We're still in listener mail.
We got there. Full circle. All right. Top 5 pop culture catchphrases. This was a really fun list to come up with. I'll start with my number 5. I think I didn't survive junior high without having quotes from the show in living color. And this case was something that was definitely screamed in classrooms and hallways and probably annoyed teachers and administrators, much like 6-7 does right now.
There was
the 6-7 at the time. Before there was that, there was "Homie, don't play that" from Homie the Clown in living color, Damon Wayans' masterful comedic character.
At least "Homie, don't play that" is a sentence that you can use in response to something.
And it's you can use it in first person and third person. You could talk about your friend. You'd be like, "Homie, don't play that," and me. And I'll be like, Rob read this book the engineer wasn't in. "Homie, don't play that because you my homie and you don't play that." It's such a good quote. It's such a good catchphrase.
Or you could be talking about yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like, "Analese, would you like to have this open-faced swordfish sandwich?" "Homie, don't play that."
I don't touch the fish. I don't touch the seafood. Yeah, such a good quote. And you hear it once in a while now from those like Gen Xers that were into sketch comedy, like in Living Color. But "Homie, don't play that." Homie the Clown in Living Color is my number 5.
I don't know that I or anyone I'm interacting with on a daily basis is saying "Homie, don't play that," and I really want to bring it back.
I think we're going to bring it back.
I think that's really funny. And I wonder how it will be taken, especially by like people who don't remember Homie the Clown.
You're going to get some really crazy millennial or Gen Z stares. Okay, old timer.
And that's apparently what I live for. Homie, don't play that.
Homie, don't play that.
I chose for my number 5 a phrase that I think is pretty ubiquitous. It is something that people say just, again, like we don't even think of it as the reference anymore. But when something bad happens and a mistake is going, you say, don't Homer, it's the Homer Simpson, and it is for sure matches the catchphrase vibe, because I don't think there's an episode of The Simpsons that goes by without Homer Simpson saying, "Boom!"
And I think that's one of those ones that wasn't intended to be a catchphrase, but it caught on. And you're right. Now people do it in the Homer voice and may not even know it's Homer Simpson.
Exactly. I mean, they know, but they're not thinking, hey, this would be a great place for me to make a pop culture Simpsons. No, it just comes out. And I will say, this is a funny story that happened to me. And I told the story on the podcast before, but when we were deep into that level 1 through 20 Dungeons and Dragons game, there was a catchphrase by one of the characters in that show that just kept happening over and over again and became this catchphrase. And it was Sweet Fantasy Christ.
Yes, that's right.
So it's a Dungeons and Dragons high fantasy world, but one of the characters, as we talked about on that episode, decided that they were an elf, but they were not just an elf, they were a North Pole Christmas elf, which then we had to get our minds around. Well, that means that Christmas exists in this universe, which means Jesus Christ exists in this universe, I guess, somehow.
In a fantasy way.
So it's just it's fantasy Christmas, it's fantasy Christ. And one of our characters would, much like the Homer Simpson doe, when something bad would happen, sweet fantasy Christ. To the point where I found myself walking the dog does its business. I'm trying to wrestle with getting the bag on my hand and going over. And then the mail truck drives by and the dog lunges after it, wrapping the leash around my leg. And I'm all off balance with wet dog poop in my hand. And I just blurt out loud in the middle of the street, sweet fantasy Christ.
What's great about that catchphrase is there was 10 people who knew it.
Exactly. Exactly.
So that was total in use.
I sounded like a crazy person. I mean, I am a crazy person, but I try not to sound like one in the middle of the street.
It's amazing. My number 4, it doesn't come from a show or a movie, so it's a little bit different. But I think no matter the sporting event, you hear, let's get ready to rumble. And that is Michael Buffer, originally from, I believe, WWE. Yep. He ended up trademarking that phrase and was hired to do it for other sporting events. And now there's just recordings of him where you will hear it if you attend a live sporting event, NFL, NBA, it doesn't matter. Somewhere someone is playing it.
Right. Absolutely. You'll hear it. Exactly right. I can hear it in my head, at a hockey game before a power play or something. It'll come on. Let's get ready to rumble. And it's oh, that's not for this, but it's everywhere.
But it's everywhere. All sporting events. What a great catchphrase. What a simple thing that can be applied across many things.
Now, do people say it? Are people in your life saying, let's get ready to rumble? Like you're sitting down at a very professional, it's the professional development meeting or the HR
Gosh, I hope
seminar.
Not in those scenarios.
And they're all right, we're going to begin. And some smart ass at the table behind you was let's get ready to rumble.
I want to say no, but it's probably happened because just like Homer Simpson's dope, it's in our zeitgeist. We just talk about it. It's just there. Yes. So I don't know. I can't say yes or no to that, but I know we hear it all over. It's one of those things we just hear everywhere.
Very funny. Okay. So for my number 4, interesting professional wrestling connection, because I believe the person who said this catchphrase is Mr. T, who was a wrestler. I did not know Mr. T as a wrestler. I didn't watch wrestling when I was a kid. I know Mr. T from the A-Team. And by God, I watched the A-Team every single day, all the time that I could. The A-Team is awesome, and Mr. T is in that show. And Mr. T always says, I pity the fool.
Yes.
I don't know that it's every episode of the A-Team he says that, but it is definitely his catchphrase, not just for the show, but also for his wrestling. And also, I think in real life, he just is that person. I don't think Mr. T is playing a character. I think Mr. T is Mr. T 24/7, all day long, everywhere he is, with his family, in the movie theater. He's always Mr. T.
I mean, I think there was a recent Super Bowl commercial or something with him in it, and he's using that catchphrase. You're right. I think it's his. It's 100% his, and it became a thing on the A-Team, and then now it's just what we know Mr. T. If you think of Mr. T, you think of all the jewelry and the gold chains and his mohawk, and you think of I pity the fool.
I mean, they went over the top. I don't know, I'm going to trigger a memory for you. You probably haven't thought about this in a long time, but there was a Mr. T cartoon.
Absolutely, yes.
He was the coach of a team of gymnasts or something, and they ran around having adventures. And there was a Mr. T cereal based off the cartoon.
And the cereal box said, I pity the fool.
Pity the fool who don't eat my cereal.
What a great, great call on that one. I forgot to ask you, is yours in like order? Mine's not in any order, like 5 through 1. I didn't really rank them.
No, not really. I saved the most appropriate and obvious one for number 1, but other than that, they're all pretty
same, yeah.
They're all just good, yeah.
My number 3 goes back to more sketch comedy, and I don't think it gets better than Dana Carvey and Mike Myers playing Wayne and Garth. Again, this is something I don't know they knew was going to be a catchphrase, but they put it in one of their sketches on Saturday Night Live where they stand up and thrust their hips forward and say,
It is a boner joke.
It is
a boner joke. You know, being the comedy geniuses they were, you don't go with the tried and true boy-oy-oy-oing. You got to come up with another phrase. And so I believe that is the sound of a sword being ripped from its sheath. The
swing. Yes.
But in this case, it's about penises.
Yes. It becomes an acceptable way to have them act the way they do. I remember the Saturday Night Live, they had a picture of like Heidi Klum and they both go swing, right? And then it made its way into the movies, and it's just, I don't think you could find an adolescent boy in the 90s not using that phrase.
No,
I don't think it's used so much anymore, but it was a thing.
It was definitely a big stupid thing when we were in junior high and high school of like the pretty person comes on screen or the cute girl walks by and somebody says swing. And boy, wasn't that just great for us. What an interesting choice, Analese. Do you think those guys are still doing that?
If you're telling me Mike Myers and Dana Carvey, no. Yes. If you're telling me boys men our age who grew up with that stuff, I think there are still some immature ones that would do that, yes. And have probably like taught their kids to do that.
Oh my gosh, maybe.
I would also say that interesting choice, but I really went with things that were very pop culture. These are not my top 5 favorite catchphrases. These are ones that are like some of these, right? Like, homie, don't play that. I remember saying that forever. I probably haven't said it in 30 years. The let's get ready to rumble. I don't know that I ever say that, but it is in pop culture. So I really went pop culture heavy versus Analese heavies.
Mine are my favorites. So I went with like, cause I had the list. I'm like, oh, that's a popular one. I'm like, yeah. And in fact, I could talk about that on our next one. But I was saying, like, do you think Mike Myers in his life still is like swing?
Dana Carvey, Mike Myers, can you write in podcast at Nerd Best Friends and tell us the answer to this question? I would like to say no, but probably. They said it so many times over the course of their years.
Yes. I think that's like hilarious.
It's just part of the vocabulary now. Like, they call each other, hey, what's up, Dana? What's up, Mike? How you doing? Swing. Who knows? Who knows? Now they text it to each other. Now they have some sound effect.
I like the texting idea. I can see that playing well on text more than it plays well in real life.
I dare you to find a way to throw it in on our fantasy football chat group sometime in the next week. I dare you. I dare you.
Okay. Challenge accepted. The next one that
Justin Herbert with another touchdown. Swing.
I mean, that's really forcing it. But we'll see. All
right. Go on. Your next one. I'm sorry. Or your number 3.
Justin Herbert. Okay.
I almost said Michael Penix with another touchdown, but that would have been too tangentially close.
Well, see, now you've given me the perfect idea. In fact, now you could probably beat me to the,
Nope. The challenge is for you, my friend.
Okay.
All right. What's your number 3?
Yeah, right. We're doing a podcast. This fits into that category. I had for the longest time, on number 3, I'll be back. The Arnold Schwarzenegger catchphrase that started in the Terminator, I believe, or Terminator 2. I think the original Terminator. And then it was this thing where Arnold Schwarzenegger has to say, I'll be back in all of his movies or whatever, or hasta la vista, baby, or something. And I was
it's not a tumor.
Like, that's a popular one that everybody would know, but it's like, I don't really care about that one. Like, that's not one of my favorites. So I swapped it out for one that I absolutely love. Autobots roll out. That is the Optimus Prime catchphrase that it's one of those catchphrases that is cool, right? The other two I have, like, those are funny ones. Oh, and I pity the food, like, those are funny ones. When Optimus Prime is like, all right, we're gonna, like, so business is gonna go down, Autobots roll out, like, that's a cool one. When it's used just right, it can be like that goosebump moment from the movie, right? Because, like, is he gonna say the thing? He totally said the thing, right? It's the Avengers Assemble of the Transformers universe. And like, okay, this is where it's going to go down because Optimus Prime said the thing. It's so good. It's so good.
That's a good call. Number 2 for me is also from more of our childhood, and it's also something that I imagine a whole bunch of people our age say, and I still say in my private life. But I am talking about the show Different Strokes. Gary Coleman playing Arnold Drummond, and something that I think was also an accidental catchphrase. His older brother's character name is Willis, I believe, in this series. And
that is what it is.
And so the catchphrase is, "What you talk about, Willis?" when they're talking mess to each other.
There is no better response when you are getting pictures taken of yourself in your underwear by the bike shop owner than "What you talking about, Willis?"
What is happening right now? Was that a very special episode
That was the very
Different
special.
Strokes?
That was a very special episode of Different Strokes.
My gosh.
The guy at the bike shop took pictures of Arnold in his underwear.
And he goes, "What you talking about, Willis?" No, that was
and
more.
Willis is like, "Hey, that's a problem. We need to go to the police and tell Mr. Drummond." And Arnold's like, "What you talking about, Willis?"
What you talking about, Willis? He used it more when they were like in arguments with each other and like, "Arnold, you're not supposed to." Yeah. "Arnold, you're not supposed to do that. What you talking about, Willis?" Yeah. We kind of remember that one a little differently.
I'm just goofing.
But yes, "What you talking about, Willis?" I say that all the time, especially to my partner.
Really?
Oh, I thought we were gonna "What you talking about, Willis?"
Really? That's really funny.
It's pretty bold.
That is pretty bold. And also like, that's a really old reference.
We're also really old, Rob, so...
That's true. Like, that is one nobody's going to know. When you pop that out at work, people are going to be like, "Oh, like from some weird meme I saw on TikTok." No, it was an actual thing, and there was the people, and...
When you have to explain it, it's no fun. I just let them look at me weird.
See, I always like to kind of do the old, like, fuddy-duddy thing. Like, no, there was a show, and there were the kids, and they were brothers, but they were adopted by the guy, and there was the lady, and the bike shop owner took pictures of the kid in his underwear.
And when you do that, then you start singing the theme song, and then you're really out there. "Well, the world don't move to the beat of just one drum." I can do all of these. They're stuck in my head, but I can't remember if I ate breakfast. Yes, Gen Xers. Woo! What's your number 2?
Having a good time. My number 2 is actually one that is a little bit newer, and that is a catchphrase from the show The Mandalorian, which was huge probably 5 years ago, and that is the phrase, "This is the way."
Yes.
And it's awesome in the TV show, and it is awesome in real life when decisions are made or you do something cool and you can like look at your buddy and say, "This is the way." Or the text. It plays really well in text too. When somebody's like, "Oh, I'm going to go do this and blah, 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 blah." And you'd be like, "This is the way." It's just that way.
But you're lucky because you work in tech with a bunch of nerds. I've said it in front of my staff and I can see who the nerds are. They go,
right.
They give you the like, I have a friend named Ellen Broom from my master's program who coined the term beer face. Mm-hmm. So it's that face you make. It's like, "Hey bro, you want to go get a beer?" Beer face, right? So that's how I know. So, okay, we're an audio podcast. So for our listeners, it's kind of like that. Like you scrunch your face a little bit, you kind of purse your lips out a little bit, and you're like nodding your head slowly, like, heck yes.
Yeah.
That's beer face, right?
It was co-opted by millennial women trying to take selfies as duck face, but it is not.
Yeah, but they don't nod. Yeah, it's not duck face. They don't duck face and nod.
You do the same thing with your lips, but you gotta like close your eyes and scrunch up your nose kind of thing.
And you crunch yep, and then you like slowly nod yes. So beer face. And I say that because when I've said it in front of my staff a couple of times, like this is the way, the 4 nerds are like, And then everyone else is like, okay. But what a great call. This is the way.
Show they do too much nerd-splaining.
None of this is nerd-splaining. This is all just...
I know, we definitely did just break down how to make the beer face.
Well,
which I think is great. I just always think sometimes we get that. I always just think of that email we got one time. "I don't like this show. There's too much nerd-splaining." Like, it's a nerd-splaining podcast.
I think that's how you internalize that comment.
Okay.
It's not what the comment was. But also, you and I can do beer face right now. But to those that don't watch the clips, if this even becomes a clip, it has to be explained what we're doing.
It's an audio podcast. You got to explain
it. It is an audio podcast, and we're
know.
nerds, so shut up about it.
Okay.
All right, number 1 for me is a cheat. You cheat all the time, so I felt good about cheating on this part of our list.
You're not wrong.
So number 1 for me, I don't know if it counts as a catchphrase. I know I've said it a ton, but so did my other Buffy fans. I don't know. It is one of the most widely known quotes from the original series now that we can recognize that Buffy came out prior to cell phones. Mm-hmm. But at the time we had pagers or beepers, and the phrase beep me used to be a thing, like, oh, if I'm not home, beep me. And so the quote from Sarah Michelle Gellar playing Buffy to Giles as she tries to go on a date in season 1 or season 2, I think it's season 1, if the apocalypse comes, beep me. Mm-hmm. And such a good quote, and even taken in the context of the 2020s where we all have a million different ways to communicate with people. Beep me. If the apocalypse comes, beep me. And I only hope that they've done something in this new series coming up to bring that phrase back around, but in the modern times.
I mean, I know exactly how I would do it.
How would you do it?
Well, there's a double entendre there with the word beep, because beep is the sound effect that would take out the cuss word. So you replace it that way. You say it, but what you mean is the other way around, like lean into the double entendre.
So you're saying if the apocalypse comes, me.
Yes.
Yeah, gotcha.
But you say it because you can't. Anyway, that's how I would do it. And
all right,
we'll see if I'm correct.
All
did you call them beepers or did you call them pagers?
Well, they were called pagers, but we all called them beepers.
I don't remember calling them beepers.
You don't?
I feel like I would have said page me.
But no way. We'd say beep me.
Would we?
Yeah, because it would beep.
I mean, it was. And like, I know they were called beepers, but I'm just like, was that regional? Like, did I call them beepers? I don't think I did.
I don't know. We were living in the same region when this happened. So.
And you called it a beeper when you had it? You called it a beeper?
I think I called it both. I think I have a pager, beep me. Maybe it was more of a verb, beep me. It was more of an action, and we used the word pager.
Oh, you can beep me on my pager.
Yes, I think that's what it was more. But people did call them beepers. I don't remember. It's far enough a long time ago now that I don't remember which way it went for me.
Okay, well, beep me. I didn't remember.
All right, let's get to your number 1, which I think we both said our number 1s were both more about our favorite catchphrases that are connected to us.
And I realize now, looking at the list, I did 2 Star Wars ones in a row. But
yeah, don't matter.
So be it. Sometimes that's the way it goes.
They're 40 years apart.
And it will be, good point. And it will be no surprise, knowing what you know about the Nerd Best Friends podcast, that the number 1 pop culture catchphrase for me is, may the force be with you.
Perfect. That's a perfect number 1 for both of our lists.
I think so. And I think it's something that is fantastic for recognizability, right? Like Star Wars is so prevalent, and it is one of those things that carries from series to series, from movie to movie to movie. And it's also one that you can say in real life, like, oh, it's 4:00 on a Friday and the HR office is calling me in. May the force be with you.
The other one that's like that, I know we're on a bit of a tangent with this, but it's the Hunger Games.
Well, may the odds be forever.
May the odds be ever in your favor.
Yes. That's another one. That one comes up about just as much as may the force be with you in those same circumstances. Oh my gosh. I got to do a hard thing. Yeah.
If not both, like, may the force be with you. May the odds be ever in your favor.
Yes. Because
everyone leaves. Everyone leaves, and you have to take that phone call.
Exactly.
What a good call. Man, this was a fun list.
It was. And it was one of those interesting things where, like, is it a catchphrase or is it just a reference? Because one of the top ones that I was going to go with was, you shall not pass, which is the Gandalf, like, Lord of the Rings quote that is that iconic scene on the bridge, but also you'll see it like tongue in cheek in places as well. Like, I know you could probably walk through the halls of your high school and some teacher has it up on a bulletin board. If you don't do your homework,
for sure.
you shall not pass.
Yes.
And like that kind of stuff. So it's pretty popular, but not a catchphrase.
It's a quote, not a catchphrase. That's a good call.
Yeah.
That's a good call.
So, fun times.
Well, nerds, tell us your favorite catchphrases. What did we miss? What are the things that you say?
That's what I love about this one, is everybody's going to have their favorite catchphrase. Give us a top 5, or just give us the one that you say all the time or are hearing all the time. And we'll absolutely put it in our listener mail section. I'd love to have another good list of stuff to share. And and laugh about.
I will say there's one other that I struggled with. I'm going to tangent real quick. There's one other I struggle with that I say all the time. It is a reference to the first Scream movie. And there's a scene early in this movie. Rob, I don't know if I can't remember if you've seen this movie or not, or the last time you've seen it. But early in the film, after the opening scene, like when it first came out. Well,
like when we watched it at your parents' house on the couch.
That's right. Do you know I actually saw this in the theaters with Coach and Ryan Jordan.
I absolutely believe it. And then it came out on video and you're like, Rob, we gotta watch this movie.
Let's watch this movie. And you hated it. So this is when I remembered that Rob doesn't like scary movies. So you have the opening murder scene and then the kids are at school and they're at lunch at school and there's the main cast. It's a beautiful shot of the main cast sitting there talking about these murders. And the character Stu Macher, they cycle around talking about these murders. And in one case, Jamie Kennedy's characters say, they're joking around. He's like, oh, I heard you put her liver in the mailbox. Like, it's gross, right? And
sure is.
The character Sydney's getting more and more upset as they're joking around about their classmates getting murdered. And the comment that makes her walk away is Stu Macher saying, liver alone. Get it? Liver, right? I say that, liver alone, and nobody gets it. But is that a catchphrase? I don't think it's a catchphrase. I think I just quote this all the time.
Quote.
And thankfully, as I'm like working on Nerd Best Friends TikTok, I scrolled along and there was actual like thing of like quotes I say that nobody gets the reference to. And that scene was one of them. It was wonderful.
Well, there you go.
It's very validating. Liver alone.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like all of those like Adam Sandler quotes and stuff we say all the time, not catchphrases. Although maybe they have become catchphrases for us in our real life. Like,
very true.
I have a catchphrase that is, don't tell me my business, devil woman, because I say it on
That is a catchphrase for you.
And that's just become a Rob catchphrase.
And also, did the penguin tell you to do that? Here we go, Rob. What's the nerdiest thing you did this week?
Thank you. The nerdiest thing that I have done this week has been playing with SORA. So SORA's been out for a month or so now, and this is OpenAI's video creation engine that they've turned into a social media app, which, take it or leave it, social media apps, I cannot tell you how much fun I have on this app goofing around with my friends. So are you on SORA?
I've never heard of this before.
Annalise, I can't believe I haven't been telling you about SORA. Get this. You can make videos, you make 10-second videos and share them on this network, or you can download them and text them to people, which is usually what I do. Anyway, of whatever. It uses the OpenAI like video generator. So if I want to see, I made one the other day, which was like a super cinematic cooking show making pizza rolls, and it makes this like beautiful like thing with like the close-ups of the sizzling and like the slow knife coming across, but it's a pizza roll. You can also remix the ones that you see. So you could be scrolling through and I saw one and it's like this scene of like battleships on a stormy ocean and like fighter planes from World War II coming down in this like epic battle, and it's a giant rubber duck in the ocean. And so you can remix that. Like I saw that and I just type Cthulhu, and then it replaces the rubber duck and makes a big Cthulhu monster. And it's these like super cool videos. But one of the big things that you could do with it is you put yourself in there. So it is so quick. It's like you literally like you look into the thing, you turn left, you turn right, and you read a couple numbers, and boom, it makes an AI avatar of you that is like uncannily good, and your voice and everything. And then you can put yourself in these hilarious things. I have one where I have this coworker that loves Costco, like watches the monthly Costco YouTube channel to know what new deals are like loves it. Right?
I didn't even know that existed. Jeez.
Costco,
okay. All right.
You can be a Costco person like you can be a Disney person. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've definitely seen reels or videos of people like new items at Costco.
It's a whole thing. Right. But like anyway, we always joke that this coworker, when he takes days off from work, it's because he wants to go to Costco and spend all day there. And so I had a day off and I actually went to Costco. So I was like, I was going to text him and be like, guess what? On my day off, I went to Costco. I was like, oh no, what if? And I made a video of myself walking through Costco, looking at all the aisles like in wonder. And then I look at the camera and go, you were right. And then rockets come out of the bottom of my shoes and I fly through the ceiling into space and float around. That's the kind of stuff you're doing.
What?
And when you make your network, you can put each other in your videos. So I have all kinds of hilarious videos of like me and Adam beating up football players and like me and Tony putting on jetpacks and flying through the city and like these kinds of things. It's great. Analese, SORA. I can't tell you how just it tickles me to see myself in this like just slightly off uncanny valley doing out of pocket things. Like it's just amazing. It's just amazing. I'll get you a code if you want one. But the nerdiest thing that we've been using this tool for is then your Dungeons and Dragons characters and bringing them to life in this like cinematic thing. So I should send you some of the awesome videos one of the players we play, Adam, in our D&D game has made of his character, just this young woman with the red hair, the giant halberd in the snow, like fight. Like it's awesome. Epic stuff. Using this tool, we kind of like bring some of that imagination to life and, edit it and refine it till it's just right. And I've got some that I've been making for another D&D character, which is kind of a jokey character anyway. So to have him just be goofy and doing these out-of-pocket videos is really making me happy. So that's another use beyond just kind of the brain rot that is SORA. You can do fun things for your D&D character as well.
Wow. That means you need to make one of our cool for me.
Oh, done. You'll
that
have
would be
it
pretty sweet, right?
You'll have it by the end of the episode. Let's see.
Well, no, I want you to pay attention to my nerdiest thing.
We could do it in
real time.
What color was he? Bronze?
Like reddish red.
Bronze Dragonborn monk with glowing yellow fists. Let's see what comes up. All right. That's cooking. Analese, what's the nerdiest thing you did this week?
Okay, nerdiest thing I did this week was I'm going to shout out Gateway Games, which is located in Santa Rosa up here in Northern California. They actually had a store here in Ukiah, and I went to them once, and they offered me a really fair price on my Xbox 360 and a couple of games.
Well, it was like a video game place, like a GameStop.
Yes, it's like a GameStop, but a locally owned, right? So they have shelves of games. So they had a store here. They had a store in Willits, and I didn't know this because I decided to sell my Wii console, a stack of games, some extra remotes. We got a Nintendo Switch a few years ago. Not the newest, not the Switch 2, but the one with the big screen, and really don't see us plugging that Wii in ever again. So I did the research, like if I sold this stuff on eBay, let me do some average prices. I made a spreadsheet. I robbed out and made a spreadsheet. What would the average price be? What would eBay's like fee be? How much would the shipping be? And then I took it all over to Gateway Games down in Santa Rosa, and they offered me pretty much the same price that I would have made. I might have made a few dollars more if they sold at the higher ends on eBay, but they would have sat there on eBay until they sold, and then I'd have to take the time to go package them and ship them. In this case, I just was offered cash. It was really great. They offered me about $100 more store credit, which is why I was saying earlier this episode, or it might have been last episode 81. I can't remember which episode I talked about this. I talked about seeing the Dungeons and Dragons starter set. Oh, it was this episode.
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons starter set, because I decided to walk around the store to see if the store credit made sense. But they had a very small selection of
like games, physical
games for the Switch. Like I have an Xbox One, but I have the games I want for Xbox One. But the Switch, they didn't have. They had a really teeny shelf of Switch games. So, but I did see that starter set. I asked if they had the Stranger Things starter set. They didn't have that one. So I took the cash, and the cash was pretty equitable to what I would have made if I put it on eBay and sat and waited for them to sell. So yeah, selling old consoles. I had more. I had a Dreamcast still in the box. I gave that to my brother Carlos. I had at one point I thought I would, like, in my library or game room, I would just plug in all of these consoles and just have them at my ready is what my ultimate dream was. But then I realized like now we have those little plug and play sticks that you can just plug in and play these games. So
emulators. Yep.
Yeah. So it just really, they were just sitting in boxes, and I had original boxes to them. I had original NES system. I gave that to my brother Carlos too, and all the games that I had for that. And now I'm down to just what's plugged in currently to our television, which is the Xbox One, and Xbox is going out. Like, I don't know what's happening, but it sounds like they're going to stop making Xboxes. So probably at some point I'll sell this Xbox One too, but because it'll stop updating and stop working. Like I
maybe heard something about that, but I can't retrieve it of what Microsoft was doing and some kind of merger.
Yeah, they're like liquidating everything, and
or it's going completely like hardware free. I don't know, something
weird. Which is unfortunate.
Did you, like me, when I sold BioWii, also have to sell a bunch of dusty big plastic guitars with buttons on them from Guitar Hero?
No, I got rid of Guitar Hero a long time ago. So.
Okay. I got rid of
Actually, played those so hard I broke a bunch of them, so we ended up having to like just recycle them or whatever.
Just shredding on the Guitar Hero guitars.
Yes. So yeah, no, those were long gone. And in fact, I think if I still had them, I might have kept the Wii, because I do like playing Guitar Hero.
Guitar Hero,
not enough to keep. Yeah, not enough to keep the Wii. So sold the Wii, Gateway Games.
If you had Sora, you could just make a 10-second video of the two of us playing Guitar Hero.
I mean, it's one thing to have that video, and it's another thing to actually play the game.
No, I know.
Jerk. But yeah, I want to just a shout out to Gateway Games. They offer very fair prices if you're selling your stuff, and they have good fair prices for all their used games and stuff too. I think obviously it's a GameStop model, but obviously we know the GameStop model didn't work for GameStop so much. So there you go.
All right. And that gave us just enough time. Check your text.
Oh boy, here we go. Okay, let's go. Oh boy. All right, I'm going to watch this. And in the time we talked about Nerdiest Thing, it made that video. That's crazy.
Right?
That's crazy. That's also really scary. Okay, thank you for sharing that. That's almost our cool in real life.
I mean, but you could all it would take is a couple more sentences,
upload a picture of what Yeah, you're right. That's wild.
It's pretty wild. And it's pretty fun for D&D too. Like, you could look at that and be like, oh yeah, that's my guy. Help you get into character.
Oh boy. I don't need more time suckers, but it looks like I might have to look into SORA.
'Tis the season, nerds, and we have all of the nerdiest gift recommendations for your favorite nerds. Don't forget, Patreon subscribers also get a handy guide from our very own Dr. Intern Joan. You don't want to miss out on this episode or the gift guide. And before you go, hit the follow or subscribe button. Drop us a 5-star rating if you're feeling the nerd love, and find us on social at NerdBestFriends, or email us at podcast@nerdbestfriends.com. Help us grow the nerd herd and keep the geeky goodness rolling.
All right, catchphrases. It's a thing. Tell us yours.
By the power of Grayskull!
There we go. Was that a cat? That's a cat. Yeah, people really did say that on the playground. You're right. They'd stand at the top of the slide. By the power of Grayskull, and then go down the slide.
Yeah, but again, that's like evoking a
quote.
Style. It's not like, did I do that?
There it is.
Maybe that's a better one to go out on. Did I do that?
Thanks, Urkel. Nerd. All right, nerds. Next week, gift guide. It's happening.
Thanks for listening. I was trying to think of another catchphrase that I could do with, but
it didn't happen.
I should have had one, ready for that.